Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we've got a This Year in Perfume, and now we're on the year 2014 if you've been following along, so we're really starting to check the years off and get closer and closer to the present. And today when I showed up, well, first of all, if you watched my videos from yesterday, you will know that I did some unboxings. And what ended up happening is I shot the first video on Ganymede where I unboxed this PDLN3 from Roja. And I figured that was going to be it. But then as soon as I was done with that video, the postman came. And I didn't know it was going to work out that way. And I said, I don't have the patience to wait. So I did a second unboxing video. One from Moudesir, which a couple of the things in there were incorrect. Again, that's one of the advantages of working with someone like Moudesir is he's instantly going to make it right and send me some new stuff. So there'll be the stuff I actually ordered. I'm going to send him back the Pure Havane he sent me and the Amouage Gold Woman and get what I was supposed to get, which was Amouage Jubilation Woman and Pure Coffee, because I already have a bottle of Pure Havane. But in the Enchanté haul that Anoush sent me, so there were two boxes in that unboxing video yesterday. The Enchanté haul, I ended up getting this little beauty. And this is a very rare and hard to find vintage bottle of Rochas Femme Parfum, Pure Parfum. The Pure Parfum is very hard to come by and came out in 1945. This is Edmund Rudnitska, one of the greatest perfumers of all time. And it basically sits in a little beautiful bottle, actually, like this. And there's the cap. I've been wearing it today, and I wear my fragrances. I don't care. You know, it's 7.5 mils, not very much. It wasn't filled up all the way, but I put a pretty good sized dent applying, and it does last a long time. But I like to reapply my fragrances. And that's why, honestly, as good as this is, and it is very good, I won't say it's not, value for money, you get more value for money out of something like this. Because I enjoy this, honestly, just as much as this. In fact, I might even like this a little bit more. And you don't have to pay such a high price. This little, because it's a Pure Parfum, this little 7.5 mil is actually, I paid more for this than I did for this whole 100 mil bottle. Is it 100 mil? Yeah, it's a 100 mil bottle. And this is the vintage Parfum de Toilette from the 80s. So, you know, I'm a little torn on these Pure Parfums. And some of the prices are insane. Now, Anoush was very fair with the pricing here, but sometimes the pricing on these is just nuts. And while it is beautiful, you know, I'll do a full video on it one day and really try to break it down. It seems like it's a little bit more spicy in the opening. Like you're really smelling a Rudnitska. You know, he likes those heavy cumin spices. It smells like turmeric even in the opening. And then it dries into something very familiar. The dry down I really do enjoy and I really love, but I love this dry down too, you know, and I can wear this and not feel like I have just a tiny amount of juice. So, that was my scent of the day. Anyways, I did enjoy it, but I must say it didn't completely just blow me away. I think I just prefer wearing the Parfum de Toilette version. Okay, so also when I got home today, I had a package. And said package is from Canada. You can't see it here because I don't want to dox myself. Not that it matters, but Canada Post. And so we're going to open up this package from Canada. Does anyone know what it is? It is actually turning into my favorite rose fragrance here, is what this is. And the reason it's my favorite rose, well, first of all, I'll just show you the box. Here she blows. So here she is. The Les Abstraits sticker. Can I take this off without ruining it? I may not have the patience for this. Let's see. Maybe I can figure out something to do with that sticker if I can get it to come off smoothly. Maybe not. Okay. So, comes with the postcard. Thank you, Eugene. Yeah, he wrote me a little handcrafted note. Appreciate it, my friend. But it comes with this. Apparently, Galen took this picture. And it's a perfect representation of the fragrance. And I have to say that I would have bought this even if I didn't love it because I was going to support Eugene. But the fact that I absolutely love and adore the fragrance is just a big bonus for me. So here is the box. It's actually a really pretty box. It's you can see that it's raised. The Les Abstraits logo is raised right here. Quatrefoil. And so this is a sleeve that comes off. And I heard a bunch of people were getting their bottles yesterday. I like this box because it's very utilitarian. You can throw this in your man bag, I guess, if you have one. And here's the bottle. Man, it's a snug fit, though. There we go. All right, there she is. La Douleur Exquise. Wow. What a cap. What a cap they made. This is a strong magnet. I'm digging this. This is very satisfying. I could just play with this all day. Wow. Very nice. Look at this. Okay. So La Douleur Exquise, which I did a entire video on. Go watch that. You know, Eugene sent me a sample. Then he sent me a second sample. I don't know if it was because he wanted to send me the medium-sized shirt because he heard that the shirt was a little bit large for me or what. But he sent me a second one. So I got to go through an entire sample, and I have another sample still in the wings. So I can, I guess, bring a decant with me when I wear this. But honestly, this box is so utilitarian, I might just throw this box in my backpack or something and bring it with me. But this is Bulgarian Rose with cumin, Turkish Rose Absolute, Iris Palladia, Patchouli, Clove, Castoreum Absolute, Atlas Cedar, Frankincense, Apopanax, and Myrrh. And the Castoreum in here is what really did it for me. I mean, I do like the opening. The opening will give you, you'll get a slight Frederic Malle Portrait of a Lady vibe when you first spray it, if you've never smelled it before. But I think I was listening to Bobby O say that, you know, that goes away after 10 wears or so. And I haven't given this 10 wears. I've only given it, I think, 2 or 3 full wears. But it does go away, he says. And I understand why people say that, because it has that rose patchouli combination. But I will say this, what sold me on this fragrance is, number one, how wearable it is. It's animalic. It's got smoky aspects to it. But it's so wearable. Somehow Antoine Lee walks this beautiful line. And the thing about Antoine Lee's fragrances is I'm finding more and more as I smell more and more of his work, he loves the old school fragrances. I could tell just by his creations, like this right here, which is discontinued, unfortunately. Je suis un homme really reminds me of a more citrusy, boozy Bel Ami, which is my favorite fragrance of all time, basically. And this reminds me a lot of a modern interpretation of Chanel's Antaeus. It's probably, honestly, it's probably the best Castoreum note I've smelled since Antaeus. And it reminded me a lot of Imitation Man. If you go watch my, look at the dent I put in Imitation Man. I absolutely love this fragrance. If you go watch my review, my initial impression was that opening is the closest thing I've ever smelled to imitation. And to me, imitation was very unique. I've never smelled anything like it then or since until this. But then they go in different directions. You know, imitation goes more in the... There is castoreum and rose in there is why. This has some different notes. You know, imitation has different notes. Imitation has more of like a vinyl feel. This kind of does its own thing. But the castoreum in this is what really gets me. And someone was telling me that they used real castoreum absolute in this. And I would love to know if that's possible. If that is possible, I would love to know why more brands don't do it, because it really, really stands out as high quality. I mean, the ingredients in this for $240 are comparable to stuff you're going to find from the brands who sell their work for $500, $1,000, you know, comparable to stuff like this, like Roja. Or you know, even sometimes I would say this smells even better than some of the Roja fragrances, believe it or not. The ingredients in this are mind-blowing. If you just close your eyes, trust your nose, don't trust the price tag, this could easily be sold for double, I would say. And so while I was going to buy it either way, I promised I would only speak how I truly feel, and that is how I truly feel about this fragrance. And so I'm very excited to have a full bottle. I can't wait to see what else is in store for us. I don't know if I'll be able to buy everything, Eugene, but I sure would love to. But I do really, I'm very happy and proud of him for this creation and following his dream. Okay, so that's Les Abstraits, Le Douleur Exquise. And you're going on the shelf. We need to find you a home. But I will, I'll mess with that later. Where am I going to put you in the meantime? You can go... Oh, there is no more room. I need to make room. Okay, I'll mess with you later. Alright, so now we're going to do the 2014 fragrances from my collection. And I've got a bunch of samples I plan on doing early impressions of. I do apologize. I've been very busy. I haven't been able to get to the night videos lately, but there's a bunch of them. So one of them that's sitting in the bullpen, ready to be discussed, worn at night and discussed. I probably won't make this my scent of the day because it's not my type of scent I want to wear all day, but it's Jo Malone, Wood Sage, and Sea Salt. And this came out in 2014. Believe it or not, it was actually created by Christine Nagel. And so, Wood Sage and Sea Salt is a lot of what it sounds like. Sea salt, mineral notes, sage, this woody, isoe smell, with ambrette. The ambrette is what makes this interesting to me. I love the note of ambrette, and while this sticks true to the Jo Malone DNA, I think that the ambrette makes it have at least some oomph. You know, ambrette is it's a plant that is used to be a substitute for real musk before they had all these synthetic musks. Now they use it as to give a unique smell to a perfume. Okay, next we're going to go to a Dior, and there is the big one you're thinking about is coming up towards the end of the video. This is one that no one talks about anymore. I have heard people talk about it over the years, but I feel like less and less people talk about it as time goes on. It's a Dior Homme, and this is actually called Dior Homme Eau. So I'll show you the way. This is a matchbox, by the way, which I've never seen before. It's actually a Dior Homme matchbox. And inside is a sample of Dior Homme Eau. Now, I haven't sprayed this yet or smelled it. It's still in the packaging, actually. I've been waiting. It's a 1 ml sample. Speaking of cheap asses, it's a 1 ml sample. So I probably won't make it my scent of the day. I think I'll probably just wear it at night and talk about it real quick. But it's supposed to be. It came out in 2014. Of course, everything in this video came out in 2014. Francois Demachy made this, and he made it as like a summery version of Dior. It's supposed to be powdery and fresh, with bergamot, grapefruit, coriander, that Florentine Iris Absolute, which Dior Homme is known for, and Virginia Cedar. But it's much more powdery. And if you look at the color of the juice, if you find a bottle of Dior Homme Eau, it's blue. So it gives you an idea of kind of what it's going for. It's going for that fresher Dior Homme DNA. And it is good, from what I hear. I've heard people like Zhao and a couple other people I trust talk good about Dior Homme. Crazy presentation for a sample. Matchbox, but I dig it. 2014, and this will get an early review as well very soon. And then we've got a Frederic Malle, and this is a big boy. 2014, animalic, woody, oody, and this is the Night. So I got this decant from Eau de Cire, mostly because the Night is a very expensive fragrance if you want a full bottle. And I've had this decant for, I don't know, a year or two, a couple years. And look at this. That's it. It's a 10 ml decant, and you can see the barely amount. I think I've worn it once or twice. So if I had a full bottle and I wore it once or twice, it would just be sitting there. You know, it'd be $1,600 just sitting there. That's how much a full bottle of 100 mils of the Night is. And so, you know, for me, this is a much more economical way to enjoy a fragrance. And then if I go through an entire 10 ml decant, then, I'll either buy another one, or I will, you know, go spring for a full bottle if I really like it that much. But my guess is this 10 ml decant will last me for years and years and years. Because when I get in the mood to wear an oud, sometimes you'll see me go on a kick while wearing oud for 2-3 days in a row. Then I won't wear oud for months. Or, you know, I'll wear an oud once and then not wear it for a month. Then wear it once, and then it just depends on my mood. But when I reach for it, it's stuff like this. I have a decant of a couple other expensive oud fragrances. Now I have some Russian Atom scents that I'm very excited to wear. Like Russian oud. And so, you know, it's, I have a lot of oud choices now, but I can't wear it all the time, mostly because maybe I should wear this to the office one day and just see what the reception is. But normally I don't wear my ouds to the office. But yes, the Night is Dominique Ropion 2014, and I know people like Persolaise call this a masterpiece. It was based on the chassis of A Portrait of a Lady, actually. And A Portrait of a Lady was taken from a piece of Geranium Pour Monsieur, which is crazy to think of. Geranium Pour Monsieur spawned A Portrait of a Lady, which spawned the Night. Okay, so now we're going to go to a decant that I have from the house of Nishane, a Turkish house. And this came out in 2014, of course. I don't know who the perfumer is. It's a vetiver scent. And it's actually one of my favorite vetivers. I've heard people say it falls apart in the base. They don't like the amber woody dry down. I love this fragrance. I know there's amber woods in the base, but I still really like it. And I have a full bottle that I purchased about 6 or 7 months ago that is trapped in England, in an English prison. You know, the black hole that is England. So hopefully Rich Mitch can... we're working on solution like number 5 to try to get these fragrances to me. There's like 7 or 8 bottles, I forget. And this is one of them. And it's a sealed bottle. And it's Nishane's Sultan Vetiver. So Sultan Vetiver has like 4 types of vetiver. And it really is a king vetiver fragrance. Java vetiver, Javanese vetiver, Bourbon vetiver, Haitian vetiver, Brazilian vetiver, 4 types. And it's got this bergamot, pink pepper, neroli. The neroli is prominent here, but it matches with the vetiver so beautifully. And then there's a leather in the dry down. So if you can get past the amber woods in the base like I can, I think it's a good perfume. But if you're the kind of person where you smell an amber wood and run, you might not like this, but I really, really like this. And I like the fact that because of the amber woods, it really does last. Is it, you know, as classy as Chanel Bois de Zile, or, you know, is it as classy as some of the old school Guerlains. No, it's not in that category. This is more modern perfume, modern niche perfume, but I think it is done well. That's my opinion. Okay, next on the list of early impressions coming soon, this is a 10 ml decant that I got from the house of Masque Milano, and this is called Tango. I really like these brand sponsored decants. I wish they'd do more, and I love this stuff, actually. It's spicy, it's resinous, it's a Cecile Zarokian. I will do a video on this soon. I've been kind of waiting for the weather to turn, but this is another one that uses cumin, and I just did a cumin video. You can go check that out if you're into that scent profile, which I really am. Doesn't come off as sweaty on my skin. It's not scary cumin to me. But this is black pepper, cardamom, beautiful damask rose with cumin and patchouli and jasmine, with a base of leather, benzoin, musk, vanilla, tonka, and sweet clover absolute. Very interesting note, sweet clover absolute. But it really, the cumin here is supposed to emulate, you know, when your body heats up. If you're literally doing the tango, and your body starts to heat up and you start to sweat, you get that salty sweat. You know, the cumin really does a good job of telling a story in this fragrance. It's very seductive. This is a very seductive fragrance. I love this stuff. Probably one of Cecile Zarokian's best. Okay, so next we're going to do one that I almost wore the other day. I really threatened to be my scent of the day yesterday when I wore Ganymede. But instead I decided to go with the Ganymede. I'm trying to get some of my warmer weather scents in now before the weather really does start to turn, because it's still in the 90s here in Texas on September 20th. So I can still kind of wear some of these and fit in. And I've got almost probably, I don't know, 5-6 mils of this thanks to Anuj. He sent me this with a haul within the last year or so, and I haven't worn it yet. It's Bulgari's Aqua Amara. Now, this used to be a hype beast. I think Jeremy Fragrance talked about this being like a compliment magnet. Jacques Cavalier created this. And it comes in the bottle that kind of looks like a pebble. It looks like a flattened stone, if you will. And it's discontinued, unfortunately. And now Jacques Cavalier, of course, is making very expensive high-end fragrances for Louis Vuitton, or they charge high-end money. I don't know if they are high-end, but they are charging high-end money for them. And so Aqua Amara is basically this aquatic, fresh fragrance. It's got mandarin orange, Tunisian neroli, aquatic and mineral notes with patchouli and frankincense. And I will wear this, and I can't really talk about it because I don't think I've even sprayed this sample yet. But from the atomizer, I could, you know, it seems like this could, why this was so popular, but I'll have to give it a full wear to really be able to talk about it. But that is discontinued now. Not my kind of fragrance anyway, so I probably won't rush out and buy a bottle, but it did get a ton of hype back in the old days of Fragcom. A simpler time in Fragcom. Okay, so now we're going to go to Etat Libre Orange. I mentioned Antoine Lee earlier, and he created a fragrance called Rien in 2006, and then in 2016, the same brand did a flanker of Rien. I don't know who did the flanker. I don't know if it was Antoine Lee or somebody else, but the flanker is called Rien Intense Incense. And what's funny about this is, if you know anything about Rien, Rien is a beast. You don't need an intense version of Rien. Rien is full on, and it's leather, frankincense. This intense incense adds this cumin note, so it amps up the frankincense, because I think there's frankincense in Rien anyways. This amps up the frankincense, and it uses cumin to give it that punch with labdanum and iris. I love leather and iris. That might be, actually, if you want to talk about like a 1-2 punch in perfume, leather and iris might be it for me. There's oak moss and patchouli, and this does really feel, it starts to dry like an 80s old school, you know, powerhouse fragrance. And I used to say I don't think I need a full bottle of this since I have Rien. I'm starting to waver a bit whether I want to pick up a bottle, but I'm gonna give this a full wear very soon. And you know, it has to be, you know, if you've been following kind of my videos that I've been doing, now that, you know, the COVID crisis is over, or for the most part over, and people are going back into the office, it's very hard for me to test something when I'm in the office. When I was at home and working from home, it was much easier, just because you don't want to look like a weirdo sitting in the office just sniffing your hand. And so, you know, it's kind of one of those, I have to balance it. And when I'm home, when I work from home, sometimes like I want to wear something I love. I want to wear something else. I don't want to be stuck wearing something new. So it has to hit me the right mood and all that stuff. But some of these that I have a lot of juice, like I consider this to be a lot. It's probably 1.75 mils. I'll make that my scent of the day. And I'll use a mil or so as when I wear it and really get to know the fragrance. But I will do early impression videos on Rien Intense Incense, and a lot of these that we haven't done videos on yet that I have samples of. Another one that falls into that same boat, early impression video coming very soon, is a fragrance from the house of Tiziana Terenzi. I've never done a video on this house, by the way. I'm obviously familiar with them, but I own 0 full bottles. But now I have a couple samples that I will be doing full bottles of, or I will be doing full videos on, sorry. So Paolo Terenzi is the perfumer, and this is called Ladano Nero, or Ladano Nero. It's woody, it's spicy, it's got cognac, honey, iris, cashmere, frankincense, oud, gumrock rose, which I know Amouage has used that note a couple times, which is, gumrock rose I think is a specific type of labdanum. And bourbon vanilla, bay leaf, musk, vetiver, oak. And so it sounds like my kind of fragrance. It really does sound like something I would love. And the other thing is, labdanum, gumrock rose, if you want to call it that, is one of my favorite ingredients. I mean, it's up there. If leather is here and tobacco's here, you know, and iris is here, labdanum is right below. I love what labdanum does in a composition. Labdanum is one of those ingredients that to me I think could easily be a perfume on its own. If you know, labdanum is so intricate and detailed. And I used to have, and I wish I could find it. I wonder if I still have it or if it got thrown away. But I used to have this actual labdanum resin that I bought. I think I bought it on Amazon even, and it was like 20 bucks or something. And it came with this piece of paper. And when you took the paper out, you could feel just how sticky it was. And if you put your thumb in it, it would like stick to your thumb, and you could smell it on your fingers for hours and hours, almost days. And it's a very deep and beautiful smell. Extremely resinous and leathery touches too. I love labdanum, and labdanum is supposedly the star note in Ladano Nero. Okay, so next sample from 2014 that's on the potential review block, or at least early impression block for me, is Valentino Uomo from 2014. Now I have Valentino Uomo Intense, so I have a full bottle of that, so I'm in no rush to do a video there. But these little samples, you know, number one, they don't last long. Number two, I probably won't be buying a bottle of this, but this version, this is the 2014 version, is discontinued. So Valentino remarketed Valentino Uomo, and they did the same thing with Valentino Uomo Intense. So Valentino Uomo from 2014 is discontinued, and they then the new Valentino Uomo came out last year or whatever it is, and it's been reformulated by L'Oreal, and I think they did change some things from what I've heard. They kept the iris and cardamom, but I think they lost the coffee and the myrtle. I think there have been some things that have been changed, because coffee was a big part of this, and Jacques Polge was the perfumer, and you know Jacques Polge I can't really think of any. Sorry, Olivier Polge. I'm off my game today after a long day of work, you know. Olivier Polge is the perfumer. Before he became in-house perfumer for Chanel, after he took over for his old man. And, you know, he doesn't make bad stuff. Everything that I've smelled from him that he's made has been solid. Even if it's not my, you know, even if it's not really my thing, like Bora Bora is not my thing, I can still appreciate everything that he's done that I've ever smelled. Okay, next on the list is a Bvlgari. So we've got an early impression of this coming soon as well. This is Bvlgari Man in Black. And I think this is a good designer. It's popular. Came out in 2014, of course, spicy and woody. It's that tobacco rum combo. But it's tobacco and rum with orris and leather. And then resins, benzoin and tonka. And I think it's a good scent. I mean, I know it's designer-esque, but I will do a early impression review on this one day soon. And then we're going to go to the Rojas. So, I've got some Roja decants that I plan on talking about soon. One is a fragrance called United Arab Emirates. And United Arab Emirates is from their Middle Eastern collection, obviously. And it's basically this oriental fragrance that has a heavy lean towards florals. And so you'll definitely get a ton of florals here, that patented Roja floral DNA, May rose, geranium, jasmine from grass, ylang ylang, and then of course he always uses tons of cistus labdanum and stuff like that, and it's here with that cypriol, oud, benzoin, frankincense combo that you see over and over and over in this Middle Eastern line. But I do like this. Would I buy a bottle? No. But I do like it, and I will do a video on it very soon. United Arab Emirates. That came out in 2014. And then there was a department store specific fragrance that came out that I haven't talked about on the channel yet. I did a couple of these. I think I talked about one they made for a hotel called L'Oscar Pour Homme. They did another one for a different chain, department store chain. He did a bunch of these. I can't remember them all. But one I haven't talked about yet is Goodman's. At least I don't think I did a video on this yet. This is Goodman's Pour Homme. Came out in 2014. It's apparently still available for purchase at Goodman's. And so this was sent to me by D.L. Qualia. So he sent this to me 6 or 7 months ago. I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. He also sent me this, PDLN3, which I purchased that from him, but that came from him. That's the great thing about making connections from people in the community. And so this is supposed to be like a spicy chiffre. So you get the usual patented Roja florals, again, May rose, jasmine from grass, ylang ylang. Here he's added neroli and mayflower, which he did with L'Oscar Pour Homme, if I remember. And so you don't get that Middle Eastern base, but you do get frankincense and spices and stuff like that. And what I've noticed is whenever Roja creates any of these fragrances for the department stores, they're always much easier, much more palatable, much cleaner, much more fresh. I'm going to guess there's going to be a lot of orange and bergamot and stuff like that, citruses, because I think they're just trying to capture people who are shopping there. You know, like a quick capture, something that just smells pleasant, high class, that kind of thing. And finally, the final Roja that I plan on talking about that I haven't talked about yet. I think I talked about Eau, the exclusive Parfum. And I don't think I've talked about H, the exclusive Oud Parfum. If I did, forgive me. There's too many Rojas. They all blend together. But this is H, the exclusive Oud Parfum, which is discontinued. So there's also an H, the exclusive Pour Homme, which is a different fragrance. And I think that is also discontinued. But H, the exclusive Oud was a unisex targeted fragrance, patented, floral, geranium, jasmine from grass, May rose. Here, You get the oud, cypriol, benzoin I was talking about. There's a oregano top, which is very strange and very reminiscent of the oregano used in Interlude Man by Amouage. This came out only 2 years later. I think there was a big inspiration there. But then it kind of goes into a different category. There's lots of birch in this fragrance, so the base is very smoky, and of course resinous from the oud and benzoin and cypriol and stuff like that. Good fragrance, but don't pay crazy prices for it if you can even find it. Okay, so let's get to the full bottles. So 2014 full bottles. This is a cheapie. We'll start with probably one of the best bang for your bucks as far as dollars go. You can get a full 100 ml of this for, I don't know, 30 bucks on discounters or something. This is Bentley for Men Absolute. Now, Bentley for Men Absolute, you'll find 2 bottles. One will look like mine. The other will look exactly like this, but this little piece right here, this top from here up, will be gold. And there's no difference in juice. The difference is, I think the gold was like targeted towards the Middle East market, and this was targeted towards the US or something. But don't worry about, you know, different bottles, same juice. Bentley does a great job keeping their juices. They do a great job keeping the juice current and in good condition because Lalique is the marketer. However, I will ruffle a couple feathers, or I will maybe get some people a bit nervous because this does say it was last marketed by Lalique Group / Art and Fragrance, which means that I think it's discontinued. If Parfumo is correct, okay, don't kill the messenger or don't jump down my throat, but it does say it was last marketed by, which means usually it's done or it's about to be done. Michel Almerac was the creator for this, and this smells exactly like Gucci Pour Homme 1 with lower quality material. So Gucci Pour Homme 1 is my favorite version of this DNA. I have a little bit of juice left there, which is a blessing, and I'll be wearing it and talking about it and doing a video on it soon. But if you can't find that, you don't want to pay the crazy prices on the secondary market, which I don't blame you, this was a perfect alternative for that. Now, rumor is that Michel Almerac now, of course, has his own brand, and he created a fragrance that is supposed to smell very similar to this for his own brand. And I can't think of what it's called right off the top of my head, but if I think of it, I will, let's see, can I find it real fast? I think it's called Oris Tattoo. No, I'm sorry, not Oris Tattoo. Papyrus Oud. It's called Papyrus Oud. So that is still available for purchase. Since he's the perfumer of this, I wonder if he had any say, or, you know, with the oils that the brand buys, you know, or whatever it is. I wonder if he had any say in this being discontinued. But yeah, he created this with Robertet, is the rumor. And this is smoky. There's beautiful frankincense with wood. So cedar. The original Gucci was like cedar. It was like cedar in a bottle. Beautiful with frankincense. Very dry. I love how dry this is. And there's a papyrus note, hence Papyrus Oud for his own brand. There are also similarities to this, which, again, with so many things, I haven't talked about this enough, but this deserves a lot of love because I love this stuff. It's Comme des Garçons 2-Man. So these kind of share similarities with Gucci Pour Homme 1 and then the new Papyrus Oud. I've never smelled Papyrus Oud, but since I have these 3, I probably wouldn't go for a full bottle. But with this being discontinued, or according to Parfumo, it being discontinued, if you can still find this for cheap at discounters, it might be worth grabbing before stock dries up. I know Bentley made a ton of bottles, so I know there's a lot of bottles out there. It's just going to be a matter of finding them, especially if you love this DNA. This is very close to Gucci Pour Homme 1 at, you know, 30th of the price. It's very cheap, or it was. Next, we're going to go to a Davidoff, and I think this might also be discontinued. Apologies, but it's Davidoff Leather Blend. And Leather Blend is, this was a Robes favorite. This was a Robes 08 favorite, Mark, which he's planning a comeback. Thank God. The Fragcom needs you, Mark. And he loved this stuff, and I don't blame him, because it has this amazing combination of saffron, pepperiness, leather with papyrus. Okay, so even though there's no frankincense here, the papyrus will give this papery, you know, it almost feels like there's a type of frankincense in here, but there's not. It's papyrus. It's papyrus with leather, rose, pepper, saffron, and amber. Fantastic designer. A shame that it's discontinued, but if you can still find this for $100, like I did, absolute no-brainer. Grab it. This and Amber Blend are the two best from this line, in my opinion. Okay, next we're gonna go to a Chanel, and unfortunately this is not my favorite, but I do enjoy this. It's just this DNA is not my favorite type of fragrance to wear, but it's Chanel's Pour Monsieur. And Pour Monsieur, the original EDT came out in 1955. This is the current Eau de Parfum. And this is one of the few situations where I think I prefer the modern flanker over the original. There might be a video on that. But this is created by, they give credit to Jacques Polge. So they give credit to Jacques Polge, but I think in 2014, Jacques Polge was still around. So he created this as well. Citrus, Chypre, a bunch of citruses with Petitgrain, lavender. And what they did here, compared to the original, is they added more vanilla. And they added more Papanax and stuff like that. The original is just, you know, Rich Mitch says it turns to bleach on his skin, and I completely know what he means by that. It also only lasts like 30 or 45 minutes. Now, I do have a modern batch. Maybe the vintage Pour Monsieur, the original vintage with a ton of oak moss, was badass, but I do not like the EDT that I have, which Chanel usually keeps their stuff very good. Okay, next is going to be a Frank Bachlet fragrance. It's the only Frank Bachlet that I own in my collection. Excuse me. Probably the only one I will own, because they're pretty, I don't want to call them a clone brand, but they kind of are. So this is Frank Bachlet Tobacco. And luckily I got a very good price on this. 2014, sweet and spicy, and it's supposed to smell like tobacco vanille. Now, looking back on it, I paid $80 for this or whatever. Mudasir found me this for $70 or something. I can't remember. Looking back on it, I wish I would have just paid double, or use that $70 to buy a decant of Tobacco Vanille, because I really do enjoy Tobacco Vanille. For some reason, there's something about Tobacco Vanille I just like a little bit more than this. This is, I think maybe it's because there's more plum in here. Like, this is like a juicier plum, whereas Tobacco Vanille has this very dry fruit. And I think the dry fruit goes better with the tobacco and vanilla and stuff like that. But is this still a good fragrance? Yes, it is. I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying, for my taste and what my taste evolved into, I think I'd rather just wear Tobacco Vanille over this. But I hear the new bottles of Tom Ford, whether it's Tobacco Vanille or Oud Wood or anything, have really taken a hit on the reformulation. So I'm kind of scared to throw down the money for a Tom Ford. Okay, next is going to be, excuse me, next is going to be another discontinued fragrance, sorry, but that's how it goes. Now the discontinuations on some of these brands come so fast and furious that it's hard to keep up, but this is Pharrell Williams' Girl. So Comme des Garçons actually created this. You can see down here it says Comme des Garçons somewhere. Right here. Made by Comme des Garçons Parfum. And this is 2014. This is a fantastic fragrance, actually. This is if you like Fahrenheit's DNA, imagine you took Fahrenheit with that lavender, right? Or I'm sorry, imagine you took Fahrenheit with that violet leaf and added lavender, okay? So there's this very modern freshness from the fragrance because of the lavender, neroli, but it's peppery. And the peppery mixes with that violet leaf. You know, it'll remind you of Fahrenheit while still being different. And since it's a Comme des Garçons, they used great materials. So there's iris and patchouli, sandalwood, vetiver, cedar. It's a if you can find this for a good price. I got this tester for like 20 bucks back in the day. So no one wanted this back in the day. Now that it's officially discontinued, prices are starting to go up. I've seen 60, 80, 100, 150. I don't think it's worth over 100. It is a good fragrance. It is a good fragrance, but if you can find a bottle for 100 or less, I think it's a buy. Over 100, maybe wait. See if you can find a partial. And then we've got probably my favorite. Well, not probably. It is my favorite, Nikolai. And this is New York Intense. And quite frankly, I bought 2 of these 30 mils. I bought this and I bought Patchouli Intense. And looking back on it, this is one of the few scenarios where I wish I would have just bought the 100 mil of New York Intense and forgot about Patchouli Intense altogether. So New York Intense came out in 2014. The original New York, I think, came out in the late 90s, if I'm not mistaken. So there's my little 30 mil bottle. And juice goes down fast on this one. And this is so good. I think this is absolutely amazing because this takes this DNA. So this DNA right here, imagine you take something like Pour Monsieur and you amp up the animalic notes in the base and you add this Guerlain-like Guerlainade. So it feels like there's a Guerlainade in the base. So it feels like there's this which she is a Guerlain family member. For those of you that don't know, Patricia de Nicolai is a Guerlain. And it feels like there's some Guerlain touches in the base of this with an animalic civet and castoreum combo. And I love that about it. It's not as pronounced as something like Les Abstraits, Le Douleur Exquise, but the dry down is what I absolutely love about this fragrance. The opening is nice. The dry down is stunning. And it's such a classic masculine. You know, if you like stuff like Bois de Portugal, if you like stuff like this right here, Roja's Scandal for men, then I would urge you to try New York Intense. Great fragrance. Her best. Hands down, the best thing I've ever smelled from her. Okay, next, we're going to go to a cheapie, or what was a cheapie. I'm guessing it's still a cheapie because Jacques Bogart does not charge much for their fragrances. I don't know how they make these for so cheap. But if you like the DNA of something like Dior Leather Oud, but that's very expensive and hard to find now and basically discontinued outside of Paris or something. And I've got a 2017 bottle of Leather Oud, and I absolutely love it. So whether you get the old bottle or the new bottle, if you like that DNA, I would urge you to try this. This is One Man Show Oud Edition. Now, Oud Edition, I think I got this for less than $20, if I'm not mistaken. It's 100 mils, and it is, Thomas described this better than anyone. He said, "Oh, you want a oud accord, do you? Well, instead of fooling around and trying to hide the oud accord amongst all these other things, One Man Show just goes, oh, you want oud? Here you go." And it just gives it to you from the very beginning. No foreplay, no messing around, oud. And the base is leather and papyrus and patchouli. So there's a touch of galbanum in the top, but you'll barely smell it because it's overpowered by this just bombastic, boisterous, in-your-face oud. with spices. Oud spices, red thyme. They say bergamot. I've never smelled a bergamot in here. It's just oud, oud, oud. And, but I do love it, you know, and it will remind you a bit of a leather oud created with lesser ingredients, but it's very good. For 20 bucks or whatever this is, if you want an oud fragrance, here you go. This is a great start. And then there's a Fendi we're going to discuss, and it's a flanker. So Femme de Fendi came out, I think, in 2012. I think it came out a decade ago. Discontinued. This came out in 2014, and it's also discontinued. The original Femme de Fendi was like a trio of perfumers. I think Francois de Machy was one of them. This is Femme de Fendi Assoluto. And the only way you can tell, unfortunately, is if you flip it over, and right there, you might be able to make out Assoluto at the top. At the top right here. That's the only way you can tell, Assoluto. But basically what they did is they took Femme de Fendi, and they added oud, and they added a Papanax, and, you know, oriental resinous materials, and tonka bean absolute, stuff like that, made it darker. You can tell by the color of the juice. It's much darker than the original Femme de Fendi. And so if you like your fragrances more, you know, Femme de Fendi did a great job of walking the line between being a leather and being designer fresh. It had this designer freshness, this pink pepper, you know, and the leather in the base. And Femme de Fendi Assoluto amps that up. It takes some of that easier to wear designer freshness. I always said if you wanted to wear like a leather during summer, Femme de Fendi would be perfect. This takes it, and it's more for winter. It's colder. It's a colder weather scent. You know, there's still some freshness there, but it's buried underneath the Papanax and tonka bean and patchouli and oud and stuff like that. So discontinued. Glad to have this 100 ml bottle, and you'll hear me talking about this very soon on the channel as well. And then another winter scent, if you will, is a flanker of Fahrenheit, and this is not discontinued. I think this is still being marketed by LVMH. This is Fahrenheit Parfum. Used to be called Les Parfums. Now it's just Fahrenheit Parfum. And this is Fahrenheit with vanilla, is basically what it is. It's Fahrenheit sweetened up with vanilla, the leather note turned down, that old school 80s gasoline opening turned down, the leather turned down, the bourbon vanilla turned up. And I am of two minds on this fragrance, because I'll wear it soon and talk about it more, but while I appreciate the idea of a more wearable Fahrenheit, I love my Fahrenheit just as it is. And I don't know if there is any place for vanilla in Fahrenheit. You know what I mean? It feels like it's something that shouldn't be. And yet, people love it. I mean, if you wanted a less traditionally masculine version of Fahrenheit, this is what people would wear. You know, this is much more palatable to today's noses. But for me, I don't give a shit about that. I want to wear whatever I want to wear. And so I love wearing, whenever I wear this, I always feel like, damn it, I should have just worn Fahrenheit. You know what I mean? But I will wear it and talk about it. But that's basically my prognosis on this scent. And since it's a Parfum, you only get 75 mils instead of 100. But it is a good fragrance. Dior quality. I mean, you know, you're getting a good quality fragrance. It's just, did they have to add vanilla to Fahrenheit? You know what I mean? Now, this, for me, is one of the greatest designers of all time. And I absolutely love this stuff in any format, whether it's the original Silver Stem, the Intense version, or this. This is Dior Homme Parfum, 2014, Francois de Machy, one of his masterpieces. And this took off like a rocket. Somehow, some way, Dior Homme Parfum turned into a bro scent. I have no idea how, but Dior Homme Parfum is now all of a sudden, you know, up there with Aventus with some of these guys. I mean, they're going crazy for Dior Homme Parfum. And it does have projection, and it is very loud. I mean, if you wanted to really stand out and make an impression, you want everyone in the room to smell you, this is a beast. And it's Florentine iris with Ceylonese sandalwood and leather. And some say a touch of oud or oud. I don't know if there's an oud accord here. Maybe there is, but oh, it's so good. One of my favorite designers. I cherish Dior Homme. Every time I wear it, you know, and the other thing is it's a very high-class scent. Like, I feel like you could wear this wearing a tuxedo. I feel like you could wear this to meet a CEO or, you know, give a big presentation. Like, it's a very upscale scent to me. Although, probably the original Dior Silver Stem is more upscale, more geared for that. This is more for going out. This is more for when you want to walk into a room and everyone turns. That's when you wear Dior Homme Parfum. But this is the old 75 mil. I don't know about the 100 mil. I've never done a comparison, but people do say it was a good reformulation. So one of Francois Demachy's best, in my opinion, that he did while he was at Dior, along with the aforementioned Leather Oud and Eau Sauvage Parfum, stuff like that. Okay, next we are going to talk about a Jean-Claude Ellena, 2014. So according to Parfumo, this is a very simple fragrance. It's only leather and hawthorn, but I think there's a lot more going on. It's Cuir d'Ange by Hermès. And Cuir d'Ange is slowly growing on me. I think when I did my top 100 countdown, I think this just missed out by 10, 15 spots. I think if I re-ranked it, this would challenge for the top 100 because it has this beautiful leathery powderiness that gives you touches of Jean-Claude Ellena's upbringing. And what I mean by that is his teacher, right? His master, if you will, that taught him the craft or that gave him pointers. Edmund Rudnitska made Eau de Hermès in 1951. And it had this, you know, this one of the best cumin. I actually put it number 1. I didn't rank my cumin. This is not a top 10. But I did put it at, usually I'll save one of my favorites to the very end. That's the one that I saved to the very end. It's the perfect use of spices and cumin with this birch and leather. And here, he again pays homage to his master, his teacher. And I think there's a cumin note in the top of this, even though it's not listed, or a spicy note. And mixing with that leather and that hawthorn flower gives this very white tan. It really does smell like a leather purse, but like a white leather purse, if that makes sense. If white leather smelled different from darker leather, it does give that feel though of smelling a tan or a white leather. But it's absolutely beautiful, and it's the only Hermescence that I sprung for a full bottle of. Normally, it's not my, you know, these kind of lighter, more ethereal scents are normally not my favorite, but I absolutely love Cuir d'Ange. And finally, we'll see if we can keep it within an hour. The final one, do you know what it is? It's an amouage, and it's actually a duo perfumer scent. This was created by Pierre Negrin and Alberto Morias, and this is Amouage Journey Man. How about this presentation? So Journeyman is, so here is my bottle is one of the made in UK bottles, which they don't do anymore. They shut down the UK plant. All of the Amouage bottles are now made in Oman. And how about this? Look at this. This is one of the most beautiful bottles with the gold coming down the side. just stunning stuff, in my opinion. And Journey is spicy and smoky. It's got Sichuan pepper with neroli and cardamom, juniper berry, frankincense, and tobacco, geraniol, and then tonka, cypriol, leather, and ambroxan. And this is a, you know, if I was giving a big presentation and you really wanted to command the room, well, I said this was a great going out scent, Dior Homme Parfum. This is a, whenever you want to control the room, I would wear something like this. Whenever you want people to take you very seriously. This might be a little bit too much sex appeal, if you know what I mean, for a serious situation. This is much more a presentation, a board meeting, a, you know, meeting the CEO, meeting the boss's boss. This is the kind of scent that you wear. This is a power scent. You know, they say red tie is a power tie. This is a power scent to me. And I love this stuff. I think it's one of the most underrated amouages. And the best thing about this to me is it's true to amouage's DNA. It has that, you know, it does have a little bit of tobacco, like the new amouage scents that the new guy keeps trying to put out, like Boundless, and the new one, Royal Tobacco, which I haven't smelled, but I have a decant coming soon. You know, they, from what I hear about the new one, I do have Boundless, but someone told me Royal Tobacco is very close to Boundless. You know, tobacco is kind of the center of the scent, or it's trying to be the center of the scent. Here, it's not the center of the scent. That amouage, frankincense, incense, that you're so, that, you know, it stays true to really feeling like an amouage. And someone said, well, to be fair, Ramsey, you know, Christopher Chong did come in and change things up when he came in, because people, you know, were upset that he was changing what amouage used to be beforehand. And I can see the argument there, because amouage had a specific style from 83 when they made their first scent. And then, of course, stuff like Dia came out in the early 2000s, and Silver. And when Christopher Chong came in, things really changed. But maybe it's just because of the time when I really fell in love with amouage. But I think, you know, the link between the early 80s amouage, the 90s, 2000s, early 2000s amouage, and then what Chong created up until 2018, 19, they really meshed together. The new stuff that's coming out, it doesn't feel like an amouage to me. And oh man, I'll tell you what though, if you've never smelled Journey and you like amouage's DNA, this is a under the radar. It's smoky, it's spicy, and it's a serious scent to me. I think this is a no nonsense serious scent. This is a boss scent. I've said that before about stuff like, you know, Patou Pour Homme and Darby. This is one of amouage's more serious scents to me. Beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Spicy. This, I would much rather, if you want to wear a spice bomb, wear this. Don't wear Spice Bomb, wear this. So, that's my 2014 video and my unboxing of La Douleur Exquise. Thank you, Eugene, for sending the bottle and the beautiful message on the postcard. Thanks to everyone who watched. And do leave a comment below. Let me know what your favorites are from 2014. You know, let me know if there are some that you own from 2014 that I do not own, that I should look into. Obviously, you can't have everything, but this is a good cross section of, you know, fragrances from my collection from the year 2014. So, appreciate everyone watching. Hope to see your faces in the comments. Cheers, and I'll see you again tomorrow with another video. Bye now.